station covering all of the DMV. This is DC News Now.
And thanks for joining us tonight on DC News Now at 9. I'm Mark Hall. Tasmeen and Chris have the night off. Well, new tonight, DC police searching for 3 suspects in a burglary in Northeast DC. They say that these 3 robbed a business in the 1500 block of Maryland Avenue Saturday around 6:45 in the morning. If you have any information, you're asked to contact police. And that comes as the district is taking aim tonight at growing crime trends in the district. Today, Mayor Muriel Bowser announcing new legislation targeting organized retail theft. It's a growing issue that businesses are facing nationwide, including here in the DMV. Reporter Marielle Carbone is live from City Center in Northwest for us tonight. And Marielle, just how big are the losses here?
Oh, well, Mark, they can be huge. In fact, the National Retail Federation says that last year, retailers reported more than $112 billion in losses due to theft nationwide. Now, here locally, high-end retailers like Chanel down to smaller pharmacies like CVS are feeling the impact. This new legislation aims to stop this type of crime.
They stole the whole store. There's nothing in the store.
Inside this CVS in Columbia Heights, you'll find empty shelves, bare freezers and fridges, a result of repeated theft.
Yo, I ain't never seen that in my life.
The store isn't alone. Giant in Southeast DC is pulling name brand products from shelves due to theft. And earlier this year, a flash mob setting off a fire extinguisher and robbing the Chanel store at City Center.
Today, I'm announcing new legislation.
So Mayor Muriel Bowser is responding. Monday, she announced the Act Now proposal of 2023, which in part creates criminal penalties for organized retail theft and establishes a new crime for directing organized retail theft.
People want great businesses in their neighborhoods, and they don't want to have to worry about those businesses being robbed repeatedly.
The National Retail Federation tells DC News Now it applauds this type of legislation, but some shoppers are skeptical more penalties will make a difference.
Anybody scared of that? You, as you see, we already know it's a penalty for stealing. People don't care they stole a whole store.
They're still going to the store, doing what they want to do.
Tawana Edmondson believes more programs for kids and employment opportunities for adults are needed first.
They talking a lot of nonsense to me because I don't see any hands on hands.
And today's legislation also makes it illegal to wear a face mask while committing a crime. We're talking about a full ski mask, not one of those medical masks. And it also addresses loitering around open-air drug markets. Reporting live from City Center tonight, I'm Marielle Carbone, DC News Now.
Marielle, thank you. Well, earlier this year, Virginia enacted a new law to address retail theft. It makes organized retail theft a Class 3 felony, punishable by up to 20 years behind bars, and it would apply to any 2 or more people who conspire to steal more than $5,000 worth of retail items within a 90-day period. Just last month, 3 people from New York were arrested for allegedly stealing $15,000 worth of merchandise from various stores at Tyson's Corner Center. And as we mentioned, Mayor Bowser's new crime bill does more than just address retail thefts. It also targets drug dealing and some police reform measures, among others. Her bill would allow the police chief to bring back drug-free zones, allow some car pursuits, ban masks used to commit crimes, and amend neck restraint regulations, and keep unfounded public complaints against police officers a secret. Now, some members of the community that spoke to DC News Now say that they have concerns, but members of the council say that violent crime must be addressed.
These laws that are in place now to protect citizens' constitutional rights, they didn't just happen. They were put in place because MPD was not working within the Constitution. They were violating constitutional rights.
There are limits to what we can do, but we need to do everything within limits to address the crime that we're seeing right now.
Again, there's no timetable on when the mayor will get a hearing on her proposals, but 3 council members who attended her briefing say that they want to move fast. What a beautiful day in the neighborhood. Let's check on the forecast of meteorologist, Chief Meteorologist Janessa Webb. And Janessa, I thought it was a nice day.
Just a beautiful day.
Yeah.
I mean, it just doesn't get much better, and it's going to continue, actually, this streak that we are in. The city looks lovely right now. You have this high pressure that's behind the scenes that you can't see, but it's really stable across the DMV. And what it means for us is a lot of clearing that's going to continue to take place, cold temperatures, and that is our major headline for tonight. Let's take a look at our cold advisories and freeze warnings that are currently in place. So this is our first of the season here. All this kind of blue color is that advisory. It starts at 2 a.m. tonight, will extend until 10 a.m. The difference for Culpeper, Rappahannock, the city of Orange County as well, you're under that warning. And so overnight lows are going to be falling between 31 to the upper 20s. Yeah, it's go time here where the cold air continues to filter in. Here are the numbers that we are discussing. Culpeper 32, Orange 33, Luray 31. And so really the growing season in these locations, it is starting to be over. 38 for DC. That's as low as we'll get for tonight. So just above the freezing mark. So very frigid temperatures. The winds right now, they have subsided, but they're going to continue to pick up here as we go into the next 12 to 24 hours. It doesn't look like we're going to beat any records, but definitely coming close. A record for today for an overnight low would be 29 degrees, set in 1969. Hagerstown, whew, that's frigid, but not going to be seeing that for Washington County. We'll get close out towards Anne Arundel County into Annapolis. Folks, we have a lot of good weather in this 7-day forecast. I'll show you that coming up.
All right, Janessa, thank you. A student at Walter Johnson High School in Bethesda was arrested today after bringing a gun to campus. Our Michaela Newton covers Montgomery County tonight, and she spoke to a parent who says they're shocked.
A 17-year-old is being charged as an adult tonight for bringing a gun to Walter Johnson High School.
I don't know what goes through a person's mind when they bring a gun to school. It shouldn't happen.
Montgomery County Police says someone noticed the student with a gun and reported it. That's when the school security team searched the student and found a loaded handgun. A parent I spoke with suggested safety is their first priority.
I don't know where the person got their gun. You know, it can come from the parents or they can get it from somewhere else. The parent has to be held responsible to some degree, but, you know, a 17-year-old is old enough to know better. I still think it's one of the best schools in Montgomery County. When you have 2,800 students in one place, a lot of things can go wrong.
The student was arrested and taken into custody. He's now being charged with multiple gun-related charges, including possession of a firearm. Reporting in Montgomery County, Maryland, I'm Michaela Newton for DC News Now.
Michaela, thank you. 2 elderly women have been released by Hamas. That's according to our media partners at The Hill. The hostages identified as 79-year-old Noret Cooper, 85-year-old Yohefed Lifshitz, were being held in the Gaza Strip. Now, they were released to the custody of the international community of the Red Cross, and that's according to that organization and multiple media reports. Israeli officials said today, ahead of these women's release, that Hamas was holding 222 hostages. Meanwhile, a Rockville, Maryland native has been killed in Israel. 22-year-old Omer Balva died Friday in combat against Hezbollah terrorists near the border with Lebanon, killed by an anti-tank missile. Now, his funeral was held yesterday in Israel. Balva played varsity soccer at Charles E. Smith Jewish Day School and also took part in theater. While many of his classmates look ahead to college, he took a different path after graduating in 2019, joining the Israeli Defense Forces.
He was very passionate about Israel. He loved Israel, the Jewish people, and he wanted to serve in the Israeli Defense Forces.
We're told that Balva's devotion has left a large impact on the local Jewish community. Yesterday, flags flew at half-staff outside of Charles E. Smith School and it's a tribute to Balva. And administrators tell us that a memorial for Omer Balva could take place later this week. An Alexandria teenager is being honored as one of the country's most influential girls. Just 4 years after she came to this country, Northern Virginia reporter Max Marcella introduces us to her and why her work in and out of the classroom has changed the city and resonated with one of the nation's most recognizable teachers.
She and I would have lunch together most days through Zoom. She really wanted to get started, and she had a million ideas.
We met Gabe Elias and John Humphrey, 2 teachers at Alexandria's International Academy, to talk about when they met a student who has done just as much for her future as the city's. That student is 17-year-old Zara Rahimi.
Getting an education in here feels like a blessing. It's not something that everyone can get, especially women and girls in Afghanistan.
Zara came to Alexandria in 2019, starting in school after her family left her home country for opportunity and safety.
I only knew 2 words, hi and hello. I didn't know how to read, how to write. I even had some, I even didn't know the alphabets in English very well.
That was only 4 years ago, and what a 4 years it has been.
And in a very short period of time, she went from being sort of, largely lost and confused to really being in command of her environment.
That environment extends beyond the classroom. After Kabul fell in 2021, Elias says there was a massive increase to the number of Afghan students here at the International Academy. He says there were maybe 1 or 2 before the pandemic, but now, by his estimates, there's nearly 200. And with that change came opportunity. Zara began tutoring dozens of Afghan refugees, teaching them how to read as she had learned just a few years earlier.
I wanted to do something to make the students who are just arriving to the United States to be able to have that support and someone to help for them.
While thriving in her new home, she celebrates her old home, running a club to celebrate students' native cultures abroad.
People always have seen the dark side of Afghanistan. It's always war. It always has been war. I wanted to show them the bright side of Afghanistan as well.
All of those efforts and her advocacy as the first ever student school board representative from the International Academy brought her here, the White House, where she was honored by First Lady Dr. Jill Biden as one of 15 girls leading change across her new country.
It gave me a sense of having home. Being an immigrant is not always easy or an easy feeling, but that day when I went there, I was feeling like I'm having a home. I belong to somewhere.
A home isn't a home without having people to welcome you, which her teachers did for her, and she in turn is doing for others.
But it requires catalysts to make those things happen, and Zara's a catalyst.
And I kind of thought in my head, like, God, could she have imagined, like, when she was on Zoom class and she was the only one turning on her camera, that like, a couple years later, she'd be in the White House.
Reporting in Alexandria, Max Marcilla, DC News Now.
All right, Max, thank you. Well, the search continues for the suspected killer of a Washington County Circuit Court Judge, Andrew Wilkinson. And investigators are now taking a closer look at the silver Mercedes SUV registered to the suspect, Pedro Argote. Now, the vehicle was spotted off Bottom Road in a heavily wooded area just south of Williamsport, Maryland, along the C&O Canal and the Potomac River. Now, the law enforcement we're seen searching the former Byron Automotive leather tannery, which now sits empty at the intersection of Bottom Road and Maryland Route 63. Washington County Circuit Court Judge Andrew Wilkinson was shot in the driveway of his northern Hagerstown home last Thursday night, and it came just hours after a ruling in a divorce hearing that Argote was not to have custody of nor contact with his children and wife. As to where the vehicle was discovered,
there's a quarry there that's going up the road on Bottom Road. It's probably about a half a mile or so from where the existing car would have been. The other thing that's nice there is it's a popular place also for farming and deer hunting too.
Well, the Washington County Sheriff said over the weekend that it was deer hunters who discovered the Argote's abandoned vehicle and alerted law enforcement.